Hey there, this is Pam Perry. All right, all right. Welcome everyone, welcome everyone. Let me make sure that I bring everybody in. Hey Gregory, hey Gabrielle, hey Alan, hey Zoom user. All right. Hey there, hey there. All right, very good, very good. Welcome, welcome to, I call this brand therapy, so you'll be able to ask me anything. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Diane. All right, so you are into the Zoom room with me, our meeting. Hey, Perry Sean, hey, Donna, hey, Gloria. Excellent, excellent. So we're gonna get started in a few and introduce you to Peppy here. Say hey. All right. All right. All right. So we're going to get going with that. Put him down. I put him down softly, right? It did put him down some. So welcome, welcome. So I want to just first say thank you. Those that show up, go up. I am Pam Perry, the publisher of Speakers Magazine. You kind of see that we have been doing this for a while. And if you are a speaker and you have a message that you want to share to the world, like Stephanie Mills did, or like Nicole Roberts-Jones has, or Dr. George Fraser, which is kind of like the godfather of Speakers Magazine, or Rodney C. Burris, who's a Branding Accelerator graduate, or Dr. Will Moreland, you're in the right place. Kim Cole's a buddy of mine as well. Yes, I love Kim Cole, Letitia Nicole, Dr. Dell. These are for speakers that I have worked with over the last 20 years or so. Hey, Wanda. Hey there. Dr. Kimbrough is the cover for April. Got May that's coming up. Carmen, you probably saw her if you've been on any of the Zooms. She was on a couple of weeks ago. And then Sean. And Sean is actually going to be one of our guest speakers in the Branding Accelerator. But before I get to that, this is for you if you are a person that wants to be, hey, Perry Sean, committed to really expanding your brand and making sure that you are getting out there, getting known with visibility, credibility, primarily with PR. So you've written a book, you've got that message solid, you have clarity on who it is that you want to talk to, maybe a little bit more clarity in that, making sure that you're muted, everyone. I'll mute you, make sure Sally. Okay, just want to make sure you're muted, Sally. And primarily just so that you know that unapologetically, I have been working with African-American speakers for the last couple of 2-3 decades. And I say that, you know, with pride, you know, this whole Black Lives Matter thing that has been trending for the last 2 or 3 years, nothing new to me, nothing new to me. I always knew Black Lives Matter. I'm Black. Grew up as a child of the 60s. So one of the things that I know that as African-Americans, sometimes there's major media or what I would call the general market media would not necessarily shine a light on African-American speakers. So we had to have our own media. That's primarily why Speakers Magazine came into play, so that we can see ourselves. I grew up reading Essence, Ebony, Jet, all of those things, Black Enterprise. Those are the things that I grew up with. Grew up on Black radio. The Black press, I love and adore Dr. Ben Chavis. I think he's one of the covers here. He's head of the National Newspapers Association, which we're a part of. Those are the things that I really specialize in. That's my superpower. That's my passion. And just show you a little quick things of 2 things that just really happened today, I guess you would say. That, one was this one here. Hey there. So if you all can see that, can you see that? Pearson, can you see the picture of Courageous Woman Magazine? So Courageous Woman Magazine is another publication, sister publication. They're a publisher as well. There's Dr. David. He's going to be on stage today. Welcome. Hi, Valerie. So one of the things, Courageous Magazine, they did a cover story on me. So how about that? A publisher gets a cover story. But I like the fact that with our community, which is African-American community, we support each other. We want to see each other win. So many times as African Americans, they have not been the case where we were winning. So now it's our era. And want to shout out to Talisha. I don't know if she's on yet, but she put me on the cover and she actually was promoting some of the Branding Accelerator information. The other thing that happened today, because I am from Michigan, Detroit proper, there was another thing that happened today that was in Voyage magazine, Voyage of Michigan, and it says Hidden Gems, Dr. Pam Perry, and it talks a little bit. You see that the magazines in the back, they're like my babies there. There's D Marshall back there as well, and Felicia Davis and Melinda. But one of the things that this does is that media gives you visibility and credibility. Of course, I can say things about myself and you can say things about yourself, but it's always better when you get a third party endorsement, when people say things about you. That's why PR, that's why social media is still a good thing. It amplifies our message. Hey, Reginald, it amplifies your message, but media itself, social media itself is not what we really own. There's different types of media. There's paid media, which we call that advertising. There's earned media, which this is earned. This is Voyage magazine reached out to me and wanted to spotlight me. That's fine, that's earned. There is shared, right? Shared media is social media, right? That's the kind of like social media where you're sharing and you're sharing back and forth, you know, the Facebook, the Twitter and that. And then there's also owned. Owned would be where I really say it's like your sweet spot. It's you're a speaker or an author, you're owning your own media, you're owning your podcast, you're owning your website, things that you pay for online that you're owning your email list, right? Those are the things that I'm saying. So it's called the PESO method, paid, earned, shared, and owned. All right. But out of all of the media, the busiest where people spend the most time is shared. Hey, Roz, thank you. It's shared. Shared media is where people spend a lot of time. Why? Because it's easy. You know, you just put up a Facebook message and, you know, like, hey, you know, that's what I do. But the main thing that you really want to do is you want to get to where you're earning media. And that's really what this branding session is going to be about today. I call it brand therapy because a lot of times people are like, all over the place. And I said, you just need a little brand therapy. So I'll give you some examples of what it means to have brand therapy and then really go through a branding blueprint and then invite you, if you want to work along with me, to be a part of the Branding Accelerator program. The Branding Accelerator program is that it is accelerated. It's 12 weeks working with me side by side. I am like your coach, your mentor. You have master classes. We're doing homework, but you're going to come out on the other side like a legend, like I got this. All of the people that will be in the Branding Accelerator, and I saw Dr. Akmel on there. Congratulations, you've been accepted as well. I don't know if Dr. Sherrill is on here as well. 2 doctors. You don't have to be a doctor to be in the program, but it helps if you're smart. But you will be getting this particular book. It's called Speak Up. I'm a part of this book too, but it talks about how to dominate, the ultimate guide, how to dominate in the speaking industry. And Black Speakers Network is a part of, is the official magazine of Black Speakers Network. So again, a part of this, hey there, Mark Perry, a part of that is really making sure that you get the knowledge that you can read on your own, but it really is also to know that it's targeted to our market. So when I say it's targeted to our market, to the African-American market, the foreword is done by Les Brown, who's one of the covers of Speakers Magazine, and the afterword, I'm sorry, the foreword was by Dr. George Fraser, which he was delighted to give the foreword to this. And then the afterword is by Les Brown. Again, those are just like giants in our field. These are the people that we really want to be like Dr. George Fraser and Dr. Les Brown. So this particular book goes over the mission, the message, the marketing, how to monetize, and the management for professional speakers. This is different from people who are public speakers. We're talking about professional speakers, people who make a living at doing speaking, whether they're speaking training, coaching, consulting, they're doing courses. Those are the type of things where I'm saying people are using their words by speaking to make them money. That's so you're in the right space. Okay, hi Kimmy. All right, I gotta make sure I'm looking down to make sure I'm letting in people in. So with that, I want to make sure that Dr. David, hold on a second. You're good? Dr. David, you're good? All right, so hold on one second. Bring Dr. David up. So show you the slides here. Share this out. No, we don't want to do that. Hold on one second. I want to share the screen, but I don't want to share that part. All right. Okay. So we're going to go over the Branding Accelerator Blueprint and basically talking to some of the cohorts or some of the grads, which is Dr. David. I see him down there. Hey, Deborah, I'm going to let you in. All right. So first of all, thank you all for joining. For those who are coming on right now, I'll try and keep an eye on the admitting people in. But who am I? Who is Dr. Pam Perry? I just did an interview with Live in the DTV, and hopefully he's on as well. But I told him, I said, it matters a lot about what you say about yourself. Obviously, we do need our own 30-second pitch, but it really matters a lot what other people say. And I always tell people that we can say anything, especially on the internet today. You can say whoever you are on the internet, you just write some words. But when other people give you honors and awards based on what you've done, that's really what I call you're building your brand. So one of the things about me being a publicist, being a publisher, and also a podcaster, I won a magazine award for the best magazine by SpeakerCon. For being a publicist, I won the National Association of Women Business Owners by NAVO as one of the top 10 women in business in Michigan. And then also to Core Magazine, one of the most influential Blacks today, which really is really a good thing when you're honored by your peers. So that's just enough about me. All right. So we're going to go behind the curtain and really talk about the Branding Accelerator program and what this all means. I'll give you the recipe for what is I guess you would say, the branding blueprint, and also give you a little branding therapy. So I would love for you to ask me and put me on the hot seat about what kind of brand things that you're struggling with, and I can give you some answers right on the spot. So put me on the hot seat and say, hey, what about this or whatever. I've been doing this for 30 years. I love being on the hot seat. If I don't know something, I will tell you, but for the most part, I will definitely give it to you straight, no chaser. And people will know that I'm very blunt. I will tell you if something needs to be changed. I had a conversation with a client today for a couple of hours, just really giving them the idea of how to shape things differently. I see them really struggling, and it's like, if you just change these things, you can go this way. All right. And you can really move in. Sometimes it's about having the right connections, which I have a lot of connections and I could connect people to the right thing. Sometimes it's just about really having the right information. Or sometimes it's just really just understanding what you don't even yet know. When people say, you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes just really having that revealed and uncovered for you. Or sometimes it's just really the promotion that you just need to be in front of a larger audience. And that's part of what the Branding Accelerator program does. It puts you in front of more people. Initially, when people are accepted into the program, we write a press release, we put it on the wire. They are offered opportunity to be interviewed. They're going to get into the speaker magazine ecosystem, all of those things. But that's part of what we do. So with that, I'm going to ask Dr. David if he could unmute himself and hear from him as well. There you are. Hey there.
How are you? Can you hear me?
Oh, I can. You got that big old mic. I could hear you. I love it. I love it. So tell people a little bit about who you are, first of all, and why you have that microphone in front of you like that, looking like you in somebody's studio, like you DJ nice. Here's Shara right there. All right. There she goes. So that way you can give us your pitch, I guess you would say your 30-second soundbite about who you are, what you do, and then tell us what you got out of the Brand Accelerator program. You were in it for 12 weeks. You were in there with your buddies, and everybody has the different takeaway, but tell us about who you are, what you do, and what you got out of the program, and what it was like working with me.
Sure. Well, my name is Dr. David Walker. Let me correct that, Dr. David M. Walker. How you like that, Pam?
Yes.
And I am a sports leadership strategist. And going through, and as a sports leadership strategist, I help organizations primarily in the sports field, strategize how to improve their organization and working with them, just how to become better at what you do. And so Pam, first of all, Pam has been an excellent person to be connected with. She helped me to identify exactly where I needed to go. As I said, I've been involved with sports like all my life. I grew up with sports. I'm a former college athlete. I'm a former NCAA Division I basketball referee, and an educator. I'm a former educator from New York City. But I was.
How long were you a referee?
25 years.
And then you won a scholarship for baseball.
Yeah. Yep. I went to college off of a baseball scholarship, and didn't make it to the pros. Dreamed of it, but it didn't happen. But I had my
injury. Because of
say it again.
Because of an injury, though.
Yep. I broke my leg. I had a tryout with the Los Angeles Dodgers, and 3 weeks before the tryout, I broke my leg. Never made the tryout, but fortunately, I had my education in my back pocket, and went on to become an educator and a school principal. Weren't my doctorate degree, so all those things were well. But as I began to go into my next phase of life, because I retired about 5 or 6 years ago, and I wanted to get into public speaking, I needed some direction, so I ended up connecting with Pam. And by the way, Pam says she's been in this game for over 30 years. I met Pam as far back as the early 2000s. I lived in New York at the time, heard about a program she was having, didn't even know her. I jumped on a plane to go to Detroit, went through a weekend with this lady named Pam Perry. She did some excellent things for me because I was in ministry at the time as a pastor in New York. But 20-something years later, as I've started to what's the right word? To reassess my life, reorganize, to do some new things, I found Pam again, just by being on the, internet and connecting with people, especially with Black Speakers Network. That's how I got reconnected with Pam. And anyway, so I joined her Accelerator program, and Pam helped me to identify who I really am. And as much as I was a educator, I didn't like sports because I always felt like a lot of times sports seem to cause people to stereotype you. If you were an athlete, people considered you to be a dumb jock, because you played ball. And so a lot of my life, I focused on that education to go overcome that stereotype. But then I realized that I can be an athlete and I can be educated as well, And so I began to focus on the sports community. And so now, like I said, I'm a sports leadership speaker. I even had, and I talk to, like I said, athletic programs and colleges and so on and so forth about sports leadership. But then I also have a podcast called Beyond the Culture. And in that podcast is where we embrace change through sports. And so I talk to people in the sports community. And as a matter of fact, if you go to Beyond the Culture on Apple Podcasts, I just had a great interview with the 1982 Cheney State College women's basketball team. In 1982, they competed in the first ever Division I basketball championship game. Cheney was an all-black school. Their coach was Vivian Stringer. If anybody's ever heard that name, Vivian Stringer, she's a Hall of Fame women's basketball coach who just retired. But anyway, they are celebrating 40 years of being the only HBCU team to ever appear in an NCAA Division I basketball championship. So I had the several members of the team over onto my podcast, and I interviewed them about that night, how they made it to the championship game. They did not win, but they were an all-black school who made it to the final. So I interviewed them this week on Beyond the Culture. So I'm focused on sports, but help me understand that that's my sweet spot. It's my sweet spot. If I get to talking about sports, I'm in my happy place. And the last thing
as you can see.
As you can see. And the last thing I want to say is that as I have on my website, and by the way, Pam helped me to get my website. It's up, it's brand new, drwalkerspeaks.com. You can go there, drwalkerspeaks.com. And I have on there where it says that most people passively watch sports for entertainment, but sports actively turned me into an effective leader. And so what I do with that is I show my leadership ability through sports, because sports taught me everything that I know about leadership, taught me how to be a team leader, taught me how to cooperate with other members of the team, team goals, team identity. All those things are leadership principles that we learn. So what I've done was I've conflated my love for sports with my leadership abilities, and I teach other people how to be a leader.
The book is coming.
Yes, and I have a book that's coming out. Hopefully it's going to be out this June. It's called The Champion's Mind: How to Defeat Giants and Win.
I love it.
Yeah,
and
so that's look for that. But if you go to my website, drwalkerspeaks.com, you'll see all that information there.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So I am so proud of you, Dr. David, because we have been a while getting to this place, and you speak with such clarity about who it is, who you are, who you serve, and why. And so the stories around it and the book is really coming together, bringing it all into, I guess you would say, propelling you further into that. You're really good at podcasting. That part you're excited about. But before, when he had a podcast, that season 1, I guess, or whatever, it was all over the place. And he was very good at whoever he interviewed, but he got with Sharon Morton.
Yes.
Yes.
Is she on here?
I think Sharon is on here. She's not going to come on, but Sharon is on here. It's a shout out to my Black Door Society member.
Absolutely.
She actually helped David really refine his podcast. And I love your Zoom background too, by the way. It is just apropos about what it is that you do. You can see it visually. All of us should be able to look at our background and then be able to really bring the best of us forward. So that's part of it as well, of just knowing that if you're going to do a television interview, how are you going to show up? What is it going to look like? So I just love that. But the part that I really like, that you have just evolved. The copy has evolved, the website has evolved, the photos have evolved. All of it was an evolution. It was over 12 weeks. So working with me, I was a little, and you remember me from when I did the Don't Settle, Go to the Next Level for ministry marketing back in 2002 or 3, I believe it was. And then now I'm basically the same person. I will tell people what is current, what is working, what you need to do right now. Back what I talked about then, still really building an email list, and hopefully you're doing that on your website.
Yes, I am. Definitely.
Yes, and then doing the automation and things like that. That's really, really important. And so you will know that I'm tough, but I'm trying to make sure that people really get it and get it fast and move forward, because he has so much passion about what he wants to talk about. And it's such a good thing. So one of the things he can speak to college campuses in terms of their sports leaderships, or even professional leagues, or, just corporations, period, but using the language of sports. So I like that, combining that. When you have a rich career, and there's so many things that you can do, what I realized about Dr. David, even coming on Clubhouse, because we had him on Clubhouse, as he told his story, I was learning pieces about him and pieces of himself. It's like, why are you leaving that? Why don't we add this? You're a pastor, you're an educator, you're a former scholarship athlete, you a referee for 25 years. I mean, so all these different things, and he loves the written word. So he has a book, you know, so put him together with his publisher, you know, so all of the things that he needed, even the writer for his website, all those resources were given to him as I heard more about his brand clarity. So I guess you would say your brand therapy, your prescription was like really just for you over the 12 weeks to really get clear on that. Now you're propelled.
Yep.
You're ready to go. And then the Sirius XM show and the other things, you've interviewed quote unquote sports celebrities and things like that. And then also too, like I told you, my cousin is a general manager of the New York Knicks. And so I can
Yes.
introduce you to Scott Perry, you know, so that you can, but once I can't propel anyone or promote anyone if they don't have clarity.
Yes.
And I can't,
that's the key. And I want to emphasize that clarity. And once Pam helped me to see and then to understand who I am, that's when the clarity comes in. And so now I'm speaking with confidence. I'm interviewing people as an expert. You know, when I talk to people now, I'm an expert on the mic, and that's why I had the mic. And again, I do want to celebrate, as Pam said, Sharon Morton. She really helped me out with some training and some experiences with media, just some invaluable stuff. And so I'm a much better person because of their help and assistance.
Cool. And then your cohort, you had a great cohort that you still keep in touch with, and
yes,
those are relationships for life. Those are priceless. It's all about community. So each cohort will have its own different, I guess you would say, circle that they're going to be in. And I handpick people that I know would fit with one of another. So Dr. David was with Dexter and Demiris, that all happen to be pastors. I think Demiris is now like a YouTube pastor, online pastor, doesn't have a physical church. And then also Dexter is a pastor, but he's also a financial guy as well. He's a financial advisor. And then also too, he was with Letitia Nicole and Yolanda, who was a voiceover expert. So they all had things together, and Rodney.
And Rodney, yep.
Yes, and Rodney. And Rodney as well, because he likes the mic as well. So a lot of these folks like the mic, right? And they all had the strength. They didn't know each other before that, but when they came together, I just saw like the beauty of it, how they all worked together. And they were on Clubhouse every Tuesday night together. So Tuesday and Thursday. So they had their own things where they had to figure out their topics and that sort of thing. So eventually those are going to be books. They weren't recording Clubhouse at that point. So it's one of those things that maybe we need to redo that over. But Dr. David, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I want to see if there is any other cohorts on the line. If not, I'm going to go through there really, really quick. Okay. All right. So we're going to go through this really quick. I'm going to share the screen and go back to this. All right. So the branding blueprint. Okay. So one of the things for the branding blueprint, and then I'm gonna have you go over my shoulder and we're gonna actually go through the branding accelerator program. But the branding blueprint simply is these 5 things. Verifiable expertise. So if you have that, if you're a PhD, you don't have to be a PhD, but you can be an expert in a field where you have been, when you're known to have verifiable expertise, right? Where you're from either your training or from your experience, right? Long experience. Not something that you read from a book. And I'm like 5 minutes ago, I read this book, now I'm teaching it, but verifiable expertise. That way people will know what your lower third would read on if you're on a television interview, you're an expert at. They're expert at this, right? Leadership expert. Number 2 is the messaging, talking points, and niche. So you heard Dr. David, his messaging is on point. His talking points are clear and he knows his niche. Now, is he for everybody? No, but he has a niche. And one of the things I will tell all the accelerators, from all of them from 2018 up until now, you get rich in a niche by having that niche, because now I can refer you, I can recommend you. I think about when I need someone that's in this niche, they're the expert at. What happens sometimes is people just think that they can speak to everybody and they're not speaking to nobody. So you have to pick a niche, right? And this is one of the things too, you're picking a niche. The other one is crafting a consistent content strategy, not just craft a content strategy, but consistent. So with me, I'm consistently giving out content about public relations, PR, branding. You know, I talk about the PESO method, the paid, earned, shared and owned media. I talk about the AIDA method. You know, you need to get the attention, you need to create interest so that that creates desire and people take action. I talk about the P's of marketing. Those are just basic marketing principles that are just in me, right? They've been in me for a long time, but really knowing your content strategy works with all of those principles as well. So when I'm looking at someone's content, is it doing the A, the I, the D, and the A? Is it getting attention? That's why people go on different platforms like TikTok or Reels, you know, to get the attention. But then you also have to have them desire what it is that you're intentionally selling, and then the interest. Are they interested in it? Getting them to really take a active role, and then the action may be for it to buy or even to come on your list. So having a content strategy and not all over the place, not posting things on this particular blog or this particular thing, but you're consistent in your content strategy. Yolanda was one that's very consistent in her content strategy. She's a voiceover artist, and she also talks about leadership and inspiration. She went to ORU, so you will find a Christian flavor to her particular post. Letitia Nicole, you will always find the fact that she will have that in her content. In Rodney, the same thing. He has books, and so he's posting content from his books that will lead, because he's a leadership mindset speaker. He helps leaders with their mindset, corporate leaders. The other thing, which is really, really key, what I go over a lot with the accelerators, is finding the right media. I help people find the right media. Now, you can buy media lists, but there's no way that you're going to even like be able to pitch them if you don't know if it's the right media for you. So I really help people drill down to find the right media so that they can maybe become a regular guest on a particular show. Maybe they are always going to be, maybe their goal is to be in Success Magazine, or maybe there's a health magazine, but finding the right media for you that will really help propel your business, your speaking business, your entrepreneurial, I call it either authorpreneur or speakerpreneur business. And then how to pitch each media precisely, what to say, who to say it to, what the subject line should be, and then practice that over and over. And it's a wash, rinse, and repeat type of a thing. Becky Davis, who is one of the ones that you see down there, she was a cover of one of the speakers magazines as well. And Becky has when she was on the cover of Speakers Magazine, she got a lot of shine from that. And then she ended up on Fox Soul Radio. And I thought that was really, really cool. She'd been in a lot of different things, but when she was there, she told her story. Her story was that how she came out of corporate. She was working, I believe it was for Coca-Cola, and she was in a bad car accident, almost died. And she realized at a certain point, like, you know what, I've got to make sure that I'm really doing what I want to do. I don't really want to be that close to death and then just stuck in a job that I don't like. She really wanted to birth into a whole nother realm. So she got to tell that story on Fox Soul TV. So I'm going to go to another screen here. And okay, so this is one of the things. Oops. So I'm gonna go here, stopping the share. So I'm gonna go to another screen to kind of show you some the behind the scenes of what is the Brand Accelerator. It's not just like, oh, we're jumping on Zoom every day, right? So that's not like what we do. We actually have a lot of information that we go over. So can you see my screen? Am I sharing? Did I share? Okay, let me share the screen. All right, so this is the members area. For those of you who are in the Ready, Set, Go, Speak, that's kind of like the first stop for that. If you're not, the Brand Accelerators don't have access to Ready, Set, Go, Speak. Only the Brand Accelerators are in their own cohort. So there was a cohort from 2022, the 2021, and then also the first one, 2018. So each particular one, hey, there's September. All right, so each particular one, I look at 2021. This is a fall cohort. So this particular one, you'll see that there's class recordings and they're 12 weeks. Each one are different. Each cohort is actually different too. So the first cohort, though, basically does really talk about getting that clarity, how to showcase your expertise, right? How to, make sure someone's there, making sure there's an expertise planner and really a social media planner. Because once you know who you are, then we go into the point of who are you serving. Week number 2 for this particular cohort, they were a little bit, they knew exactly who they were. So they were at the point where it's like, I'm ready to pitch. I'm ready to pitch the media, how to pitch yourself to the media, and then determine which TV shows to pitch to. Besides the fact that a lot of times I will have guest speakers, and I'll show you a little bit different one. This was in that was in 2021. So this particular one was these are some of the recordings from the other one. So the first one is always clarifying your brand, mastering your message. Module 2 was really shining up your branding assets, because I want to make sure that people come away with tangible things. So I will go over the website. I will go over the tangible things that they need, their bios and their photos. We wrestle the alligators and we make sure that people come out looking right. We go over the word, how to write great blogs, really from that standpoint of how to get the search engines really finding you, right, from your blogs. Talk about how to partner with people. In order to get in front of more people, you have to partner. How to really use LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. If anybody's on LinkedIn, that's where, that's my favorite place. And then this particular cohort, I gave them some insights, and I actually had someone come in from LinkedIn, the actual company, and speak to the cohort. Also too, one of the main things that, how to crack the code of finding media coverage. So that was a different type of a cohort versus, say, this one, which was 2019. And you can see how this one was different from the other one, depending on who it is. This one, I had sponsors in there because they requested, they wanted to do more live events. Obviously, we were doing more live events, so they wanted sponsors for their live events. How to use influencer. So this particular one, when I look at this, they are influencers right now. Geneva is really gone far into this whole space. She's like the AARP influencer. And so is Allison Bond. Both of them, by being in the cohort, because of the way they presented themselves and their content that they really, really love. And Magdalena and also, this one right here, Mikhail Eckerson. They really, really love this particular one about how to be an influencer and a content creator. So they took this and ran with this. This is towards week down, but it really gave them, we had someone, her name was Brittany Hennessy. If you are a book lover and want to know more about influencer marketing, I would recommend getting her book. But we actually had her live in our session for about an hour and a half. And really, she went over what it takes to be a good content creator and how to get paid as an influencer. Allison and Geneva took that and ran with it. Also, too, we give people a whole directory of podcasters, right? So they can know like who to pitch. So this is a thick, thick book, but obviously you're not pitching hundreds of podcasts. You're pitching the one in your niche. So I give people things like that, how to repurpose your content, because a lot of people have a lot of content. And it's like, okay, how do I repurpose this content? I don't need to create new content. And then the last cohort here, nope, that's the one that's coming up. The last cohort here was, then this is the one Dr. David was in. So their class recordings were different. So like on week number 5, they had Sierra that was talking about content and positioning and how to do that. Week number 6, we had a guest speaker, and this one was talking about your marketing promotion plan. And then week number 7 was a little bit deeper dive, because then basically I'm working with them more one-on-one. And so a lot of the times when we're doing the sessions, it's really organic. This particular one was needed for all of them. How to reinvent your speaker model. Kadena was a guest speaker at week number 8, but all of them, when we graduate towards week number 12, have the clarity. They are being seen by more people. You could see the increase in their email list, their social media following, the request for speaking gigs, the request for interviews. That's the whole point. But it started with week 1, which is how to showcase your expertise, right? Like, who are you? What is it that you do? And we spend really a couple of weeks, to really understand that, because you can't write a bio if you don't know who it is that you are. Sometimes we will go through other type of, I guess to say private meetings, because some of the cohorts will need a little bit extra things than other people. And that's fine, because that's what I'm here for, because I want sure that everybody who's in the program gets the things that they need. And then there's also a forum as well. It's not like on Facebook. People get too busy when you get on Facebook, right? So we're not on Facebook. We basically are in our own forum doing our own thing. Yeah, so anyway, so I'm gonna leave some time here. We go over, can you see my screen here? Can you see where it says Media Matters? Can everyone see that? Okay, all right, because sometimes you don't know, when you hit a certain button, you don't know what's going on. So we go over a lot of broadcasts because people love broadcasts, people love TV. Speakers Magazine has a podcast. We're going to be on Roku and all that kind of stuff. But the print is what I always say, don't sleep on print, right? Don't sleep on print. So one of the things is show people how to pitch in Inc. or Forbes or Entrepreneur or any other type of, I love prints. That's like the majority of my background. Success Magazine. And so really just showing people how to write the pitch, to either one, write it themselves for the publication, or to be interviewed. And that's a really, really big part of it. Knowing that media matters, and it's not just about television, it's not just about broadcast, it's not just about podcasts, but print as well. So the program, the Brand Accelerator program, like I said, the course training in itself, the different modules in itself, by itself, would be like $2,000. And we've sold the digital version for just $2,000, $1997. Just a digital course. I'm not there, but it's just people go through a course. But you know what it is like to just buy a course. If no one's there to walk you through it, it just stays a course. So you do need to have the interaction. So the contacts that I bring when I'm sitting with you over the 12 weeks is roughly about 2,500. The content creation, when I say content creation, whether I'm going to rewrite your bio or write a press release, or I'm helping you write any content that you may need, whether helping you write your pitch, that in itself is $1,500. So each particular cohort will need some extra things that they need written or created, and I actually provide that for them as well. It's called, like, there's a done DIY, do it yourself, which is ready, set, go, speak. And this is a done with you, right? So it's done with you. It's like you do a little bit and I do a little bit. Then the communication within the group, whether I have you on text, I have you on Messenger, we're in the forum, but we're in communication over the 12 weeks, pulling out to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Right? Because it's like, I see the vision for each person that I interview and accept into the program. And then I'm in communication with them and making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and they're connecting to the right people. Creative critiques in terms of new ideas or courses that people want to have. Then I have to say, if they say, what do you think about this book title, right? Dr. Davis, like, we'll give you my idea. It's like, I think we need to have a little bit, depending on where you want to go, we give you the creative ideas from a different lens, from a branding lens, like longevity in terms of where that's going. So a lot of that is what I help people with, because you can create something and then it's a mess because you didn't have all the pieces together. But when it's all together, it can move faster. And then the community, like I said, each cohort will have its own community, which will be their lifelong friends, and doing things together, whether they're sharing or doing webinars together, podcasts together, that's priceless. So the value of the program in itself is $16,000 over the 12 weeks, because you come out with tangible assets and you're ready to go to be on the media that you want to be on, right? Because that's the thing that really, really you learn how to do. I tell you all the industry secrets, basically. So we start on May 24th, and the investment for the 12 weeks is $7,500. So some of the things where people have done is they paid $1,500 first. They get a one-on-one session with me, and then their payments are $2,000 for the next 3 months, or they can do $2,500 for 3 months. All right. And we meet and the only thing that I tell people is that they have to be committed to every Tuesday, 7 p.m. between May 24th and August 30th of that time, at least. Now they are recorded, they're always recorded, but just being there is really where you're going to get the most, working side by side with me. If people were to just work with me for like a hourly session with me, it's $5,500. All right. So you can see the value that something where it's $2,500 a month, and then you're working with me over 12 weeks in the group. So if this is something that, you know, invite you to be a part of, Branding Accelerator program, fill out the application, we'll have a conversation. And like I said, I want the cohorts to fit with each other. If it's not a fit, maybe it will be the next one. So say, for instance, if someone has a product and everyone else that I have is maybe more service, maybe that's not a fit. So when I say it's not a fit, meaning like I don't see how you all could work and collaborate together. You can always collaborate with anyone, but I really want it to be a really good fit that will help accelerate you, not just the things that I'm sharing with you, but with each other. So with that, I'm going to allow anyone, if they have any questions, unmute. Request to unmute, and I can answer questions about branding. I can be like the doctor is in, and I can answer brand therapy questions, right? Like this is like a therapy session for your brand. So with that, if you have any questions, I would love to answer them. And, you know, again, to recap about the Brand Accelerator program, 12 weeks, we're going over everything from how to pitch the media, what producers, what editors, what contacts that you need, how to pitch, what to say. And one of the things I always say, if you can take it, you can make it, because Pam will have you everywhere, right? Dr. Pam will have you everywhere, but you've got to be ready for it, mentally ready for it. And I know it's going to be summer, but hey, you know, it's something that I feel, I just was on the interview. I said, you know, if it's committed, if it's your dream, then you want to make it happen. You know, so with that, if there aren't any questions, I'm going to make sure I look at my timer here. I did it. Okay. So I'm on
I
time.
have a question.
Yes. Who is that?
Mark Perry.
Oh, okay. There you are. I was like, I know that voice.
So on your screen, you have April 29th is come and gone. So that deal is passed?
No, that deal is still up until we're taking the last applications on the 11th. So good point. I should change that. Yeah, so they can do that. I take the last applications on the 11th. So if they want to do the deposit, they can still do that. Hi, Yolanda. All right, just unmute.
Hey, Dr. Pam.
Hey.
I'm going to take you up on your brand doctor and ask a question.
Yes.
So I am in a place where I am getting very focused on my niche and stuff, but my website is still a little all over the place. I don't really have the time to devote to updating it right now. Plus, I kind of am waiting to see what happens. So what I would like to create right now is like a landing page that just kind of provides my bio and some information and kind of take my web page down. Would you agree with that or no? Or
I mean, some people only have a one-page website, and it's a landing page from the standpoint that it provides an opportunity for people to get information from you from an opt-in. So you want to make sure that people land on the page and say, hey, download my free whatever it is that shows them some tips or something like that, shows your expertise. And then, you know, when your website is up, you have their email address, and you can then send them the information that the new website is up. I invite you to come back and speak with me, or you know, do business with me. But yeah, one page is fine. I would rather someone have a one page with an opt-in than have a website that's all over the place. But make sure that you have an opt-in and that you're using a tool like an Active Campaign or an Aweber or even a MailChimp. There are other things.
I switched from Active Campaign and I now have Entreport, so it does all of it.
Okay. All right. I'm not real familiar with Entreport, but some people do use it, but I recommend Active Campaign from the standpoint that you can tag and you do all the things there. How do I say it? Sometimes a company that does so much is not an expert at anything. Active
Mhm.
Campaign is about email marketing, and that's what they're really good at. And that's the thing. That's with anybody. It's like a generalist is not as going to be as good at everything because they're generalists, but a specialist is going to be excellent at what they do. And that's why I always recommend when people say, well, should I go to GoDaddy for my hosting? Well, GoDaddy is good for domain names, but not necessarily an expert at hosting. So those are the type of things that I just kind of, when I'm looking at software as a service or any kind of apps or that kind of thing, those are the things that tell people to look at, like where are they coming from? And then the ease of you ramping up to use it as well. Those are some
Yeah.
of the things as well. So
You know,
everybody,
I know a thing or two about systems, and I like Active Campaign too, but right now, actually Entrepreneur offers a little bit more. So I'm like, okay, let's try it. Let's see. So
okay, all right. So yeah, as long as
Yeah.
you can export it to whatever platform that you want to go to next or whatever. Because I started with Constant Contact probably 20 something years ago. They were the first on the scene and it was fine for the time. And then I moved to Aweber, was a little bit better because I needed double opt-ins. Constant Contact wasn't going through. And then I moved to Active Campaign. Now, will I move to something else? I don't know. Active Campaign has been pretty active in terms of really upgrading to the things that they're doing. So, but that's the thing. And they're integration is really, really important for me, like what it integrates with. So I will say for the most part, if anybody who's on Constant Contact, to look at the deliverability rate of your Constant Contact email. If it's low, and consistently going low, it's because it's going into people's spams and trash because of just because they're one of the first ones out and they didn't have the double opt-in. A lot of people have, if you opt out of Constant Contact, sometimes it'll opt out of one Constant Contact. That means everything that's on Constant Contact doesn't get to the email because the IP addresses aren't talking to each other. That's why I switched to Aweber, because I had to have people confirm. And when they confirm, that IP address speaks to the IP address, and it's like, okay, this is good. This is not spam because they have given permission. So sometimes with Constant Contact, you can just put people on the Constant Contact list. That's not good. They have to approve. You have to, that's against the law. That's canned spam laws. You can't do this. So anyway, that's the whole thing. So if you are on Constant Contact, use another system. Even MailChimp is better than that. So because of the automation as well. So that's it.
Thank you, Dr. Pam.
You're welcome. You're welcome. There any questions? I see Wanda, Diane. Diane, I know you have some burning questions for me. All right. I've got about 5 minutes. Does anyone have any other questions, or you just want to just stare at me? That's cool too. Hey, Kimmy. Hey, Alicia, any questions at all? Nothing is too, how do I say, there's never a question that is a stupid question, you know.
Okay, I have a question.
Hey, Madonna, love that name.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I love the program and everything and what you have to offer, but is there anything else besides having you one-on-one and you have the 12 weeks? Is there anything else that you have in your?
Yeah. The other one is the readysetgospeak.com. And within that, it's really robust. And it's really, if you're disciplined, and it looks like you probably are a disciplined person, it's actually a good program, but you don't have me in there all the time. But once a month, I'm with you. And then every Monday, you get a marketing memo that's really bite-sized. And then there is also to the Branding Accelerator, the digital course. I'm not in there, but it's the first course that we actually did. That's in there. And then you also have media leads in there as well. And there's a forum. And Sierra Black, who is my program manager, she's in there to answer questions in the program, you know, in the forum and that sort of thing. So it's really, if you're the type of person that is a, you know, that doesn't need someone to just really hold your hand along the way, it's a great program because there's a vault in there. There has all of the templates in there. It has all of the resources and the things that I've done, samples of media kits and press releases and pitches and things like that. But going through the program first, it leads you through that. And then you go in and you have the clarity call with Sierra. So it's a really, really self-paced program. Most people are in it for at least 12 months because it is a lot of, it's a lot of self-reflective work that you'd have to do to go through it yourself. But once a month, I show up on Zoom and answer questions with people and, and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's a really, really,
I'll take a look at it.
yep.
Thank
Yep.
you.
So it's
Okay.
ready, set, go, speak.com. Oh, and the other part in there is I did 12 interviews with media friends, and that's also in there. So it's 12 hours of what the media says, what they're looking for. So some of those are Hall of Famer journalists and things like that, but that's in there as well. Nowhere else on the internet, but only in that program.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad I asked the question.
Yeah. Cool, cool.
Pam, it's Diane.
Hey, Diane.
How are you?
Good, good.
Okay. I am starting from scratch, it seems. I think I said that before. And I think Ready, Set, Go is good, but at the same time, I think I needed more of a hands-on because I had a lot more questions in terms of I need a new website, and I got a good idea from here doing a landing page. I need to redo my bio as well as hone in my expertise.
That's key.
And, what am I offering? Who am I offering it to? And so I'm torn between, I didn't finish Ready, Set, Go. It's going back into Ready, Set, Go. Speaking to Sierra and then finding out how I can make that work for me, and then moving on to the the branding accelerator program, and then going on from there.
Yeah,
And-
the ready,
Go ahead.
set, go is self-paced. The accelerator is accelerated. So it is going to be fast-paced. So really understanding and really getting a footing on who it is you are and what you offer would be really, really key. And having some assets already coming to the
Yes,
program.
I agree.
So, having the website would be good. And even if it's a landing page with an opt-in, just knowing how to do the automation for that. And then really creating a content strategy that drives traffic to that landing page would be good. Because even if you build up an email list of 200 people, say, those 200 people have raised their hand and says, hey, I really like what she's offering. I'd like to know more. And then when you build out the website, you can then basically you have an audience, you have a small tribe of people that have raised their hand that said they're interested. But the main thing is to do things in the right sequence.
Yes.
So going through the modules that you have in the Ready, Set, Go, the 12 weeks, go through that. And there are handouts for each particular week. And you can even see the progress of the ones that are in that particular program, how they have actually arrived at where they are. Just like Dr. David, when he started, he was at one place and now he's at another. He could have had the website first. Well, he actually did have a website, and we kind of said that wasn't the one. So now he says, Dr. Walker Speaks. That sounds a lot better. Dr. Walker Speaks. So before, I don't know what he had before, but now Dr. Walker Speaks is a place where he can feel confident about what he's really offering. Where the other one, he had one, but it was just there. Like, everybody said you need to have one, but you want to be sure about what you're putting out there and who you're serving. That is so key. In the vault, make sure that you go in the vault, and there is particular in platform building. So make sure that you go in the vault and go through those items in platform building. Because if you're starting from the beginning, that's what you're doing. You're building your platform. And that will really help you out a lot by going through that. And then also too, there's something in there, I want to say it's called small market survey. So just really helping you decide like who it is you're serving, like how to really survey who it is that, what it is you offer by asking. And so there's some survey information on how to really do a small market survey in there that will help you define your target audience, because it's all about marketing. So you've got to know that target audience. So survey them is first. If you're starting from scratch, it's a good thing, but it's going to take a little bit of time to really get it going. So it's,
Okay.
I would say that Do that first. Spend the time with that. Those are the foundational things. Get those things in the sequence in the right order. Then the accelerator, which I'll offer next year.
Okay.
You'll be ready. You'll be ready.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey there.
Good evening, Dr. Pam.
Hey, who's that?
How are you? This is Wanda.
Oh, hey, Wanda. How are you?
I'm good. I wanted to see how long the sessions are, the one-on-one sessions with you.
They're an hour.
Okay.
The bonus session is an hour. Mm-hmm.
And there, how many sessions?
No, the group is 12 weeks. So you meet with me weekly over 12 weeks and they're an hour. But for people who do the payment before the 11, the 1,500, they actually are the ones that will get the one-on-one session with me. I don't do the one-on-one sessions in the brand audit with everybody, only the ones that pay in advance. Yeah, so it's not that this is not a, if you wanted to do like one-on-one sessions with me just by itself, that's 5,500. Just, outside of the program, not attached to the program, just do one-on-one sessions, that's 5,500. And that's on pamperrypr.com/products.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Miss Pam, I have a question. This is Kimmy.
Hey there.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good.
So when you are trying to do brand strategy, like content strategy,
Mhm.
and be consistent with it, are there any questions that you should make sure you have the answer to when you're creating your content? Like, how do you build this content to be consistent? That's like my issue.
So it comes down to the formula, the AIDA. So what is the action you want people to take? You're getting their attention, you're getting them interested, desiring it, but what's the action? What is it? Where are you leading them? So we can do all this content. When I say content, you could do a podcast, you can do articles. There's some people that love to do blogs. You can do, of course, the social media up the kazoo. You could do TikToks, you could do Reel, but what is the whole point of the action of that? And it needs to go back to something that you want to build. If you want them to subscribe, you want them to at least nurture them by getting on your email list, and then you need to have that automation in place. So with any content, for me, it's always regarding marketing, PR, and branding. The podcast, the magazine, all of those things generate interest, attention, interest, and desire. And the action is for them to get on the email list. So my email list is roughly, between all the different ones, is roughly about 7,000 people, right? 7,000 people. Now, do 7,000 people open the email all at once? No, they don't. But it's continuing. Some people come on who've never been in, and then there's some people that drop off. But roughly, it's always about 7,000. But you also want to look at their social media. Now, again, social media is one of those things where it's good to have the content, but don't let everything live there. You're not selling on social media. I just had an email, I think I talked to the last one, that Les Brown's YouTube channel basically got hijacked or hacked. And so he has to start all over again. He had 250,000 followers. He didn't own it. They hijacked it. He can't get to anybody at YouTube. They're not going to call him. And they said, basically, once you get to 10,000 followers on YouTube, he had to start a new one. They would assign a YouTube rep. Okay. He had 250,000, but then it got stolen. Same thing with Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. Those are all great, but you don't own it. One of the things I'll talk to the next cohort, because they're going to be at that level, is about the whole community of NFTs. Those are things where you can own. I'm learning more about that because I always want people to be on the cutting edge of things that I teach. And so before I was teaching certain things, but as things change, I'm learning it and I'm actually teaching them, because if you're in something first, you really could dominate it. Letitia Nicole was just really doing her prayer calls just on the phone. I said, you need to do them on Clubhouse. And she did it, and it's growing. It's just a new format. She was unfamiliar with it, but she's doing it. You know, I tell people, I says, you need to do reels. People who are doing reels are now getting paid from doing their reels. It's like, you know, it's almost like you have to be, I am an early adopter, but you have to be an early adopter to do those type of things. It wasn't since the pandemic that I've been online. I've been online since 2000, right? But it's just since then that more people are realizing, well, how do I do certain things? It's like I will give, and Dr. Akmel, he'll know this too. He's going to get some pre-training before he actually starts on the 24th to bring him up to speed of all the things that he needs to do on the digital platform. And those are the things that are like the baseline, because everything is just growing so much. You know, cryptocurrency and NFTs and Bitcoin. I mean, all of those things are like, oh, I can't just not be a part of it. Because by the time we realize that this is important, this is going to be here, it's too late. We're not ahead of the curve anymore. We're always behind. So the people who are in Accelerator, I want them to be ahead of the curve. That's why I have them on Clubhouse. That's why I have them like really just doing the automation and the things like that, because that's how you stay ahead. It's always changing.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So are there any other questions? I didn't see the chat here. There's probably some chat thing. Hey,
hello, Pam. This is Alan.
Hey, Alan, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing super. I've been learning a lot going through your program.
Good.
You mentioned a couple of minutes ago about the 5,500 101. How many sessions does that consist of? And is it over a certain time frame?
Well, the session is actually, I would do an audit of you, and then we would come back and I would actually deliver your strategy to you written. So it's just one session, but I will be doing I guess you would say the homework behind the scenes before we meet.
Okay.
Yeah. So that roughly it would take probably about 2 weeks to do the whole audit. And then I will come back and do the session with you. And that's about an hour. And you'll have the written, you know, the written strategy blueprint, I guess you would say, that you can follow. Yes, so Kent says finding your sweet spot. That is it. Yeah, that's one of the things. I'm looking at the comments and just saying, everybody's saying hello. Okay, cool. I want to make sure I wasn't missing any comments in the chat, because I tend to not look at the chat. So yeah, just, you know, go to Branding Accelerator program, fill out the application. The application itself will determine in so many ways, like what kind of things you're going to go over. So if you fill out the application, there's a lot of no's. Realize that by the end of those 12 weeks, those no's will be yeses. That's a secret, you know. So if it's like it's a lot of no's, it's like, okay, they're going to turn into yeses, because at that certain point, those no's are the baseline of the things that I know that people need to have in order to be the big brands, to be the Les Browns, the Cindy Trims, you know, Dennis Kimbrough, those kind of things, Delatoro, McNeil. Those are the things that they have. So if you go through the thing, it's like, no, I don't. So know that you need to have that in order to be those big brands, you know, when you see those type of things. So that's why they're in there. And from doing this for, you know, as long as I have, I know that those are the things that the main thing that you've got to do. All right. So are there any other questions? If not, I promise you guys an hour, and it is a little 10 minutes after. Yolanda, you have one last question? I see your hand was raised, or is that from last time? Yolanda?
I forgot to take my hand down. My
Okay,
apologies.
all right. Yeah, so I saw the hand raised. All right, cool. I'm just gonna look really through Perishan, Alicia. One of the things that I'm gonna go over, and Monica was in the last Branding Accelerator, is I'm gonna have Yolanda help Monica help us learn how to show up on Zoom. A lot of TV interviews are now, you know, used to doing Zoom interviews. So the lighting is important, your background and that sort of thing. So, you know, Yolanda, if we were doing a Zoom interview, we'll say like, maybe that's a good interview, but maybe we should take some of those things out there. They're so distracting or whatever. But she will go over how to dress, how to sound, what the lighting is. Like Dr. David, his was excellent. It represented what he talks about, sports leadership, right? Minus the basic black velvet. That's just the Black Velvet Studios, right? So that's really what it is. But in terms of, I don't have on like fancy prints that are all going everywhere. I've got the right lighting. So we go over things like that because you want to be red carpet ready, camera ready. You want that done. So those are some of the things. We'll have experts that come in, and then it's not a lot of equipment that you need. You know, I don't have a microphone, but I do have a external camera that has a good microphone. I use a Logitech, you know, so those are some of the things that I will share with people, like, how do you get this to go? Or, you know, I don't go live all the time. I don't like the way I look. You know, everybody can look good on camera. You know, we have to. That's just the world we live in today. You know, I'll show people how to do TikToks and Reels very simply. You know, you don't have to dance, but there's a way to do it that would fit your brand, because it's really, they're paying people to create content on Instagram using Reels. So you want to be a part of that. That's one of the things. So with that, again, just to recap, we start May 24th with the Brand Accelerator. We go for 12 weeks. If you do the 1,500 ahead of time, you get the one-on-one session bonus with me. All the accelerators will get this book as well. This is like one of the pit stops that I want people to have in their library. They'll be getting more books too as I see where they are in certain books that I know they need. But again, go to brandacceleratorprogram.com, fill out the application. Then from there, we have a conversation. I interview you and see, you know, where you are and the commitment is. I will say there were some people that were in the accelerator before and they did some of the work, but they weren't really committed. So I learned from the very first one that people have to be committed, because I want to see them win. And if they're not committed, I can't want it more than they want it for themselves. And I can usually tell that when I interview people. So with that, thank you guys. All righty. So thank you all, and I will see you all later. Thank you, Roz, for showing up. I see you over there, the expert maker. All righty, very good.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you all have a good one. That's a good background, Alan. I like
too.
that.
Oh,
That's a good
thank
one.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is that a green screen?
It's a virtual background I picked, just $5.
I like it a lot. Look at that again. Look at his background. To say
Yeah.
something again. Yeah, that's cool. It
Well,
looks like,
thank you.
yeah, it looks like New York, I guess. It must be New York. Cool, cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Thank you.
That's a nice one. Cool, cool. And sometimes we can put our logos on our things as well. So I teach that as well, like how to make sure you look like you have a show. So with that, thank you all so much. I will talk to you later. All righty. God bless.
Okay. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.